DC here. Hi, guys and gals. Well, it is Monday afternoon. What is it? Close to 4 in the afternoon over here. And well, I'm sitting in the shade. I've moved the Adirondack chair under the walnut tree, and yeah, it's pretty warm. It's like 33 Celsius right now. But over here, it's not bad. Yeah, it's not bad. And as I said, it was Monday, and Monday very often is a tag day. And yes, we will be doing a few tags. So starting with Jasmine's 5-question tag. Hi there, Jasmine. Hope you're well. I don't think it's as warm over in England right now, which is good because it's hellish warm here. Hellish hot, I should actually say. Yeah, but anyway, let's get on with those questions. And let's see if I show as much passion as you when I answer them. That was very impressive, Jasmine. Very much so. I enjoyed it. Okay, question 1. Do you have any brothers and sisters? Well, I have a brother and a sister. I am the eldest of the family. So I was born in 1957. My brother was born 18 months later, and so in 1959, and my sister in 1962. We were all born in Canada, in the province of Quebec, and I'm the only one that has emigrated. And of my brothers and sisters, well, let me see. We have 2 kids. My sister has 3, and my brother has I was going to say an adopted daughter, but it's not really an adopted, but a daughter from his marriage. So basically, a daughter that came along with the wife, if I could put it that way. Okay. Now, question 2. Something you would buy if you had the money. I suppose the question is how much money. Well, let's keep it in reasonable amounts. Oh, probably something electronics. Right now, I would very much. Actually, my questions are getting to be quite a bit like Jasmine's this time. I would like to buy probably an upgrade to my camera. I mean, I already have really good cameras, so I probably wouldn't need an upgrade. But have you ever noticed that no matter, it's like cars, I guess, and other things, no matter what you have, or computers, as soon as you get it, there's going to be a better one coming out, and so on. So, if I had money, but because we're saying something that you would buy, because if I just look about money questions, I would go on a trip to Ireland, but that is not something. So if it's a thing, yeah, I wouldn't mind buying an upgraded camera, or if I had even more money, yeah, let's leave it at that, because that really goes and gets my hobbies. And the thing is that the type of cameras that I like to use, well, I have pretty much all the lenses that I would need. Otherwise, what would I get? I'd probably get a new iPad if I had enough money. Yeah, my iPad is pretty good, but it's aging, And if I had enough money, well, eventually I'm going to need a new phone. I don't change phones every 2 years, so it's one of those things that eventually a new phone wouldn't be too bad, because my iPhone that I do have, I can only charge it now with the magnetic, with the MagSafe on the back. For some reason, the plug basically doesn't work, and I have tried cleaning it out with air and things like that. What's the usual things to clean it, but it doesn't work. So I'm able to charge it, but with with the MagSafe on the back. Yeah. So that actually would be, yeah, there would be a few things I would need to buy, and I would buy if I had the money. But right now I don't have the money. I might live in Switzerland, but money is tight, just like everybody else. Yes. Okay. Question 3. Do you like going to the zoo? So I like going to zoos. Ah, the answer is kind of a yes and no. It's one of those things that I quite enjoy going with the children or the grandchildren, because they enjoy it, and it's nice to look at them enjoying it. Um, the type of zoos, when I was a kid, we would go to the zoo. Either it would be a school outing or once a year. We did have a zoo in our part of the world. It was called the Granby Zoo, which was in Granby, a town in Quebec. So we did have a zoo, and there were a few other zoos. There was one in Quebec City and so on. So that was an outing. I mean, we were not I was going to say not a greatly well-off family in that respect. So going to the zoo was something that was a really special thing. The costs were reasonable then. Jasmine mentioned as well how the costs have gone up for things like that. Now over here in Switzerland we have a smaller zoo not very far from where we live, and it has or had tigers because it was the big thing about that zoo, the tigers I should say. But the older tiger passed away like 2 weeks ago. Yeah, so they're looking into that. But the other zoos that we have one in Basel, which is well known for its ape colonies. I'm trying to remember. I think they have apes in the sense that they have gorillas, and they probably have different types of chimpanzees and other type of apes. They were in the news not too long ago because there was a bit of warfare in the gorilla camp with some murders, if you want to put it that way. Yeah. And then there's a big zoo also in Zurich. In Zurich, yeah, where they have really cool elephants. Now, I like most of those zoos because they're not with cages. When I was a kid, the zoo that I said as a kid, well, they were all with cages. There was what we called as a safari park at the time, where you were in a cage because you were driving around in your car. But I would prefer the ones that don't have that you can kind of see them in pseudo. I was going to say in their pseudo natural environment, but yeah. But then what I have found is that very often when it's like that, you don't see the animals anymore because they're actually hiding or something like that. Okay, but that's about the zoo. So kind of like, yes, with the grandkids or at the time with the kids. Now on my own, I don't tend to go to the zoos very much. First off, they cost a lot of money, and second is that I actually find them kind of boring when it's not with the kids and seeing how they react. Yeah, that's question 3. Question 4. Are you date worthy? I think I'm past the due date on that one. Am I date worthy? It's kind of funny because I would say probably, as far as good looks or physically and so on, probably nobody'd be really interested in that way. Um, I think I'd probably be date worthy as far as my character would go. I'm probably I think I'm a relatively fun person to be around with, and know how to chat and things like that, and would be able to chat. Mrs. DC is turning up the shades over there. She's gonna take a picture. The other day she took a picture of me making my tag. Yeah. Anyway, so am I date worthy? Probably not. Albeit I was very amused on the weekend um, because I overheard somebody talking to Mrs. DC, and I asked. I said, I heard this lady say, "Oh, I really love his sense of humor." And I asked her, I said, who is she talking about? And she smiled and she said, she was talking about you. So, okay, so maybe I am. Okay, question 5 and last. Oh, this is the one that got Jasmine going. Oh, yes. What concerns you most in life? Well, Jasmine, I won't go on as much of a rant as actually as you did about immigration and politics. But yes, what does concern me a lot in life right now is the way that, well, actually, is the way that certain countries are run. And it's, I'm a conservative person, and I very much like to see things, I would say, in order. And if countries can be run, with a similitude of good sense. And, well, I think by now most of you know that I'm not a great fan of liberal politics. And so I am concerned with the way that is going along in a lot of the world, because for some reason, and it doesn't have to be that way, but for some reason, very often liberal politics are often, I was almost going to say, equal to a loss of the, let's say, morals, but let's say living by the golden rule. Now, I'm not saying that everybody has to be a Christian. I wish they were, but I'm not saying that. But there are rules of society that should be followed, at least, for society to go well. And a lot of that is just going down the drain. Our country, so where we live now, so I'm talking about Switzerland, but actually it could be said for many countries. Many years ago, when we moved to the Swiss German part, stores left their stock out in the open, because nobody was going to come and steal and go off with it. They can't do that anymore. I mean, and so in 30 and 40 years, the whole question of honesty, this is mine, this is yours, this is your property, this is my property, I respect you, and so on, respect for authority and so on, it's all gone down the drain. So yeah, I'm concerned with that. Yeah, but anyway, I mean, I was thinking on listening to Jasmine that that's very much, there's a lot of things that Jasmine said that I could probably repeat. On the other hand, it is interesting to see that I could probably hear the same discussion from some of my liberal friends, because yes, I have a lot of liberal friends. Yes, I do. But you have to be careful. I was going to say language changes over the years. Liberal was meant something else many years back, com- compared to what we're using it now. Anyway, and I'm up to 13 minutes, so I should stop there. Yeah. So Jasmine, you got me chatting today. Yeah. So thanks a lot, and take care, everybody, and I hope that you all have a great week. Bye bye.